Experience of being exhausted but can't fall asleep, this live is for you. I want to explain exactly what's happening and what you can do about it. And if you don't know who I am, hello. My name is Diana Bando. I'm a licensed attorney. I'm a certified life coach and I'm a stress management expert. And one of my favorite things to do is work with high achieving clients to help them achieve their biggest goals. And one of the things that you need to do if you want to achieve really big goals is get a great night's sleep. And yes, you can get better sleep lots of different ways. We, for better or for worse, have an incredible big pharmaceutical industry worldwide, and you can get sleeping pills. You can also use drugs. You can use alcohol. You can use a range of things that will help you fall asleep. But I want to talk about how to fall asleep naturally, using the body's natural systems that help you stay awake or not anyway. So before I get into it, I do want to tell a little story about my own experience with struggling with sleep. For me, like the struggle really began when I was studying for the bar exam, which is a little over 10 years ago. And I, for the first time in my life, really struggled with going to bed. And, part of the reason why it was the first time I struggled is prior to that point, I had a life that was so packed, so busy that by the time I was going to sleep, I was physically exhausted and also running on next to no sleep. And then when I was sitting for the bar exam, suddenly I wasn't busy. Like the only thing I had to do in any given day was study. And so I wasn't getting the level of physical activity I was used to, but I was also doing something that was super high stakes and I was very attached to the outcome. And that was a big piece of why I was struggling to fall asleep because at the time, I couldn't think of anything positive that would happen if I failed the exam. I kind of felt like I'd probably die. And if you know anything about getting licensed as a lawyer, the bar exam is offered most places in the United States twice a year, once in July, once in February. There's usually a limit on the number of times you can take it, and you are not licensed to practice law until you have passed it. So I was, very, very, very invested in passing this exam. It's also expensive. And by the time I was sitting to take it, I was about $200,000 in student loan debt. So it was really important to me. The stakes felt very, very high. And what would happen is, I'd get to the end of the day and then I'd go to bed and I just couldn't fall asleep. And there was this one night in particular where I was like, okay, since I can't fall asleep, I am just going to make myself a drink. So I made myself either, I can't remember if I took a shot or if I mixed something, but I made myself a drink with rum, waited, nothing happened. So I had another and another and another. And I think I had about six. And nothing. Like I still felt just as, wired, just as scared, just as, um, hi to everyone who's joining live. I felt just as, unable to fall asleep. And what was crazy is I was wired, um, but I wasn't tired. And so I wanted to talk about why that's happening and also tell you about the solution. So, what I did is I created it's called the $1,000,000 sleep method. It's $22.22. So, it won't cost you $1,000,000, but it'll help you have $1,000,000 sleep. And I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end of this video. But it is for anyone who wants a natural way to fall asleep, no drugs, no pills, nothing habit forming, that works with your body's natural chemistry. So basically, when you are working towards a goal, especially if it's really important to you and you feel like there's a chance that you might fail, one of the things that happens is your body activates what's called the sympathetic nervous system. And yes, this is alive, Maddie. The sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is also sometimes referred to the fight or flight response. And the fight or flight response um, is what helps you get out of physical danger. And what matters about that is if you want to deactivate it, you have to feel safe, right? And so if you are someone who goes through the day and you use your brain a lot for whatever it is you do, whether it's you're in school, whether it's you're working, whatever it is, if you use your brain a lot, that go, go, go that your brain is in, it doesn't necessarily know it's time to switch off just because you are ready to go to bed. Especially because we live in a world where we are exposed to a lot of artificial light, and so your body's natural cues that it's time to fall asleep don't get triggered. And so what you want to do is learn how to deactivate the sympathetic nervous system, which is something I teach inside of my private coaching sessions. You want to deactivate it and switch on your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation response. And the parasympathetic will only get activated when you feel safe. Safety is the big thing. So, what I created, the $1 million Sleep Method, it's a guided audio. And what it does is it walks you through a series of scenes. Each one is designed to help you feel safe. So it's not designed to be watched while you're, operating heavy machinery, while you're driving. It's specifically made for when you're lying down in bed, ready to, call it a day. But it walks you through a set of scenes that help you feel safe. And the reason this works is because your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between imagination and reality, especially when emotions are heightened. And so this plays into that by speaking to your subconscious, making it feel like you're in these different places, like, in a forest and by the beach and all these places where you'd feel totally, totally, totally safe. And by convincing you that you're safe, it tells your body, okay, like we can turn off the sympathetic, switch into the parasympathetic. And that switch is what makes it easy for you to naturally fall asleep without needing drugs, pills, some other artificial anything, because sleep is natural. Your body was wired to recharge while it sleeps. It heals itself while it sleeps. Your brain sorts information while you're sleeping. There's lots of different things that happen while you're asleep that are essential. And if you don't get enough sleep, there's also a lot of negative things that happen. Your risk of dementia goes up, health problems go up. So there's all these reasons why you want to be able to sleep, and you shouldn't need, a pill or alcohol or drugs or something outside of you to fall asleep. You should be able to just use your body's natural system. So I created $1 million Sleep Method. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's something that you can listen to, and it's totally fine if you fall asleep while you're listening to it. But the whole point is to shift your body from fight or flight, activation, go mode into relaxation mode so that you can naturally fall asleep very quickly. And not just fall asleep, but also fall into deep sleep, because that is what you want. Like, if you want to be able to feel refreshed when you wake up, if you want to be able to get to a place where you don't use an alarm clock to wake up, like I don't use an alarm clock most days, because I want my body to like wake up when it's rested. So if you want to be able to do that, what you need to do is be able to get into deep sleep as quickly as possible. And the problem with using alcohol, for example, alcohol makes you pass out, but it prevents you from going into deep sleep, which is really what you want, because that's where a lot of the really good stuff happens in your body and in your brain. So if you're someone who is working towards something big, something important, or you're a mom and like, or a parent, and you're taking care of kids and you want to be your best for them, or you just want to be able to be your best in your life, one of the most important things you can do is get a really, really amazing night of sleep every night. And so if you're someone who struggles with like laying in bed and you just can't fall asleep, this is for you. Done habit forming, and we'll make it so that your body knows like it's okay to go night night. So, $1 million Sleep Method. The details are in the description box for the replay of this live. And then, yeah, if you have any questions about sleep, falling asleep, why I made this $1 million Sleep Method, I would be more than happy to answer them in the comments. What I'll tell you now is like the backstory is that it originally was something I made for one of my mentors who told me that they couldn't sleep without taking sleeping pills, which made me so sad because I was like, this is someone who is literally, running a law firm, has his name on the door, and someone I respect a lot. And, like they need a pill to sleep. That just seems crazy to me. And so I created this for them so that they could fall asleep without pills, and realized that I could probably help a lot of people if I made it more broadly available. So anyway, that is all for now. Thank you to everyone who joined live. And yes, if you're watching this replay and you were someone who struggles with falling asleep and you want a natural solution for sleep, one that works with your body instead of changing your body chemistry or will help you, um, like not have to wake up with a sleep hangover, then the $1,000,000 sleep method is for you. So let me just see if there's anything. Uh, yes, Ernie said exert yourself. Yes, exerting yourself absolutely helps. The problem is if you are tired and you can't fall asleep, sometimes the issue is that you, even though you're physically tired, you're not mentally tired enough to fall asleep. And even when you're physically exhausted, your brain, if it's still in overdrive, will keep you from being able to fall asleep. So the $1,000,000 sleep method is designed to help your brain shut off so that your whole body can get really deep, restorative, relaxing sleep. So I hope this was helpful. And thanks again to everyone who joined live and who's watching. And to those of you who watched the replay, I hope this taught you something and makes you feel a little bit smarter. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.